Welcome back to Rand on Real Estate. I'm Greg Rand, your host on 77 WABC and WABCRadio.com. My website is ownamerica.com. That's Own America like you should own America. How cool is that? That when you buy a piece of real estate, you're actually buying a piece of the country that you love. I'm going to give the number out again here, 800-848-WABC. That's 800-848-9222. We have calls coming in, and I want to go over to Frank from Passaic, New Jersey. How are you, Frank?
Yeah, hi, Greg and Laura. I love your show.
Thank you.
And your website is terrific, too. Very helpful.
I appreciate that. So you had a question about a couple of different places. You're thinking about two different markets?
I'm 3 years from retirement, and I'm really excited about the prospect of getting a place in Florida that would be for, in the short run, go 3-4 times a year on vacation and let family members go there, like a 2-bed, 2-bath condo-type unit in the Delray Beach area.
Okay.
And in the long term, it would be for a permanent retirement place. But I also think that Delaware would be for cost of living better, and it has accessibility to nice beaches also, although the season is a lot shorter in that state. And I wondered what you think. Ideally, I would like to have a small place in Florida and a small place in Delaware. I have $45,000 cash now that I could invest in real estate in 1 or 2 places. Do you think a big place in Florida, a bigger place in Delaware, or like small condo type 55 plus in both?
All right, well, it's a good question. There's a couple of good questions in there. First thing is the fact that you're 3 years from retirement means that you're looking at that place in Florida with a fairly short-term mindset that you want to be getting down there a lot more every year. You'll go a couple times a year, and then you're going to want to go down there for the entire season, it sounds like, right? Within 5 years.
Absolutely.
So in that kind of situation, the play of which market to buy in where you could rent it out and get a positive cash flow and then ride the appreciation up into the future doesn't really apply. This is really a personal preference thing for you in terms of where you're going to go and want to spend your time. Delray Beach, Florida is one of the markets in Florida that many of the markets in Florida suffered from the same thing, which is there was an overdevelopment in South Florida. The overdevelopment coupled with too many speculators going in and buying those newly developed units. A lot of them were condos near the waterfront. And then because they got no money down mortgages when the market didn't go the way they wanted to, they just flaked out and ran away. Left a lot of these developers holding the bag. Left a lot of properties competing for whatever buyers would be out there. What I'm hearing from my friends in Florida is that the market is finally, after 4 years, heating up pretty good. And the reason why it's heating up is one reason. People cannot resist the bargains that are available down there right now. So what I think you'll find in Delray Beach, I like to play for Delray Beach because I like the fact that because you're not going to be renting it out, then you got to find a place that you're going to want to be in. All right, it's not a straight investment. It's really kind of a home ownership, second home, moving to home ownership play. The question on Delaware is a different one. That's where if you're going to buy something for year-round rental, you're going to rent it out to somebody else. That person's going to pay your mortgage down, pay your mortgage off if you have one. What I like about Delaware is that it really did see a pretty steep appreciation curve. You know, the average price in the state of Delaware went from about $140 to about $240 between 2001 and 2006. And now it's corrected back, and it's come down something between 180 and 190, all right? So it kind of held its own. And one of the things, and you mentioned my website, Own America, if you go there and you go to the button on the right-hand side that says Research Tools, you're going to find that some of these tools we built for you, some of these tools somebody else built, and I just linked to them because they're so cool. One of the things we do is we look at migration patterns. Because if you can see a place that is growing in population, people are going there, that tells you what's happening. Then you want to find out why. But if you go into these counties in Delaware, very interesting thing comes out of that. You're going to see that Delaware is pulling population from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. It's not a national migration happening into Delaware. It's like regional. And so I want to scratch a little bit deeper to find out what's going on down there. Is it a low-cost state? You mentioned the cost of living is really attractive. Tell me about that.
I heard on Kiplinger's and some other sources that for cost of living, it's supposed to be the most desirable retirement place in the union because of very low, I think there's a very low state income tax, there's no sales tax, and the property taxes and insurance rates are very low.
Okay, so it always comes down to that. You know, when a place, I always approach this when I'm looking at a market that I'm not that familiar with, or even if I'm familiar with it, I want to see how it's faring now compared to just a few months ago. I want to look at what's happening first and then try to figure out why. Okay, what's happening in Delaware is property values have held during the recession. What's happening in Delaware is that it's pulling people like crazy out of just the states north of it. So it's almost like, you know, if what you're saying is retirement is a big part of the why, people are going for a better cost of living, what that tells me is they don't want to be that far away from their kids and grandkids. They're retiring, but they're retiring near enough by where they don't have to wind up hopping an airplane every time they want to bounce Junior on their knee, you know?
Yes.
Is that one of the things you're thinking about, Frank, doing a retirement thing in Delaware instead of Delray Beach?
No, I'm indifferent. I could go either place. It's really almost like a flip of the coin. The only thing that's holding me with the Delaware is the annual cost of living is far more attractive because of the low taxes in Delaware versus Florida. But the real estate to get in is so attractive in Florida. You can get, I think that there's some two-bed, two-bath condos in that Delray Beach area. You could get furnished for like between 15 and 20 that don't need a lot of work done. So I'm torn.
Well, you know what? Here's what, and listen, this is something you're going to decide to do on your own. It sounds like you're fairly committed sort of emotionally to the Delray Beach thing, and you're absolutely right. You going in and buying at those kind of price points, you cannot go wrong because there is a migration pattern down to that part of Florida that's not going to quit. It's not going anywhere. So if you want to give me a shout, and we could talk about this offline, because I don't like giving armchair advice and telling you, well, this is what I think you should do, Frank. I don't know you well enough. But you can email me at greg@ownamerica.com. We can talk more about it. But I think you found two places that you're not going to go wrong in either one. It's a hard choice because you picked two good choices. So I think you're doing the right thing, Frank. So thanks for calling.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Okay.